Fingers. Good. Hello?
Hey, I can hear you now.
All right, good, good, good. How's it going?
Going good, going good. Excited.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
I I actually made an like a little expense. I looked up for projects to do with React and I made a little expense report with it.
Yeah.
I was trying to work on. It was so much fun.
Awesome.
Yeah.
You should, do you have it on GitHub?
Yes, it's on GitHub. I put it on GitHub too. No,
Sweet.
no,
Yeah.
I looked it up on like just Google like small projects to do, and I saw that one was like a really fun one for me to do. And then
Yeah.
I did it and I put it up on my GitHub.
Awesome. Yeah. Be sure you share the link. Like share it in like the Code Newbies channel and in our channel.
Sure,
Get it out there. That way people know you're building stuff.
definitely.
Hey, oh.
Still figuring out this Zoom thing. Took me like 30 seconds to figure out how to unmute myself again. Oh, hello.
Hello.
So I try to stretch this thing out so that I can see like more people, but then the little like mute thing disappeared. So I think I got it figured out though. So weird to this over there. Okay. Do y'all see my React Day 3 VS Code screen?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. It's weird. So today, like that annoying little thing at the top is in my middle screen, not over the screen that I'm sharing. So if I drop this down, let's just do. Oh, that tells me. Okay, cool. All right. Neato. All right. How's everybody doing?
Doing good. Doing
Good, good. Were y'all able to clone the repo?
Yes.
You got to know, I think, from some.
I was not, unfortunately.
Are you using GitHub Desktop or GitHub command line?
Both, mostly terminal line, but it's for lack of trying.
Oh, okay, okay,
Yeah. Lack
right.
lack of being able to.
okay. Anybody else having trouble with that or good?
Not trouble, just getting to it.
Okay.
Doing it now.
So while you're doing that, we'll tell you what we're doing today. So we're gonna discuss, let me get my note back over here. I'll show this. So you should see my Slack now. Right? Cool. Okay. All right. So we're gonna just a couple things. So we're gonna talk about destructuring, and then reusable components. Those will be the two big things we talk about today. And then we'll also talk about Bootstrap. But I did want to mention before that, I had talked about exports and export and export default. I think on our first class, and I didn't really explain what that meant. So I put this in the Slack for you guys. But basically, what it means, I'll show you in the code. Whenever you're exporting something, so like this menu item is a child component, right? So we need to export it into our parents. Okay, and remember, it's just a function. So anytime you're exporting a function to like somewhere you're going to import it to, obviously, right? Because you're exporting it and you're going to import it. If you put default here, then when you import it right here, menu item, then you don't have to use the brackets like this one below it. And you can name this whatever you want. Okay. I think I had said that this name has to match what's in here, but it doesn't. It doesn't if it's a default. So basically it gives you the option to, if you wanted to change this name to whatever, you could. I don't know why you would, but you could. To me, it makes more sense to just stick with the name that you're actually exporting from. But you do have that option if you want to. If you don't use default, for example, in this fake data import that I'm doing, you'll see that we have the curly brackets, and then we have these two function names, or these aren't functions, object names or array names that we're pulling in. So in the fake data, you'll see that it's just export and then the actual array or object or whatever it is that you're pulling in. And this name, this fake menu items, this name must match what's here. Okay. So with the export that's not default, you have to match the names and have the curly brackets for what you're bringing in. Okay. So like fake menu items and fake merch items. Okay. For the default export, which is most of your functions, especially your functional components, are going to be that way. You don't have to have the brackets, and you can change the name if you want to, if you want to make it harder on yourself. Make sense? Thumbs up. Cool. All right. And then I also wanted to talk about that. Talk about that. Okay. Higher order functions. So basically, and we'll see in our code today, a higher order function is a function that you can use on like an array or an object in a dot notation kind of way. That's going to return another function. So like it says here, higher order functions are functions that take other functions as arguments or return functions. And I'll show you that. I don't want to spoil our code, but I'll show you what that means in our code. And then ChatGPT kind of gave us a little example here. And basically it's making it's kind of a confusing example, but this with logger function is returning a component, which is a functional component, back to it so that it can be used down here with the login button. But this is kind of a, again, very confusing example from ChatGPT. So I'll show you a better way. And then we'll get into destructuring in a minute, I think, and reusable components. Yeah, we'll get into those in the code. Those who are still cloning it down, are we good?
I'm good.
Jason, are you good? Good, cool. All right, let's jump into the code. All right, so you should have this cloned.
Sorry, I jumped on late. With you said cloning it down. What do you mean?
Yeah, so I had put out in the find it here in the Slack to go ahead and clone this repo here.
Okay.
Did you clone it down?
No, I didn't go that high up, so I missed that. Okay.
Okay, yeah, no worries. Yeah, just let me see. Let me find the link. Not that one. Where did I put the homework in? Well, I don't know where it went. If anybody's got the link, can they throw it in the chat for Neil? But yeah, you'll just clone it down from GitHub. So you'll take that link, and if you're using GitHub Desktop, you can just click that top button.
Perfect.
And you probably already know how to do it, but yeah, click the top button, add clone repo, and then just throw it in there or throw it in the URL one. Good to go. All right. Get that. Okay. Okay. So this little app, has anybody ran it? Tried to run it?
What is the link? I haven't plugged it either.
Okay. Let me see. Jason, do you have the link handy?
I do not. I'm sorry. I didn't realize that we were cloning the specific repo that you're on right now. I don't see a link either to
Okay.
Yeah, we're both trying to find it. We just created the actual repo.
Yeah, me too.
Oh.
I just created
Yeah,
like
I just made a day 3 and then try to do it from scratch or whatever. So I made
Okay.
misunderstood.
Same.
Let me see where I threw it at. May have not. I put it somewhere. Okay, that's all right. All right, don't worry about cloning it. If anybody did, that's awesome. If not, I'm just gonna throw the code in here for you guys.
Awesome.
All right, so your app.js is coming first. I'm just putting it in the Slack channel. I'll put, what was this? React day 3. Yeah, I'm making a React day 3 thread and I'll throw it in the thread there. Okay, there's the app.js. And we'll have a components folder like we had, like we did before. So this will be in the components. Components folder. And then the fake data.js will just go next to your app.js on that same level. Did anyone clone it, or did I just dream that up? That I actually put that out there?
I couldn't find it anywhere.
Okay, yeah, maybe I thought it was a great idea and I just actually didn't do it. All right, I gave you all a little bit to copy and paste that stuff. Michael, did you get a chance to see that the response to the lifting state thing?
I haven't had a chance to.
Okay, no worries. We can talk about that while y'all are doing this. So in one of the videos, Kent, right? Kent Dodds, was talking about lifting state, and it was kind of confusing. I watched the video again, and I was like, yeah, it's kind of confusing.
Yeah.
But basically what he's talking about is how so think about what we did Saturday with the sign in and the main. So there was like the sign in page, and then there was the app.js, that's the parent, and then the main page where we had all the clickers clicking and all that stuff. If you just think about the username, so this username, well, we kept all our state in the app.js, right, in the parent. And then we sent a function down to the sign in that when the sign in happened, then that data was passed back up to the app.js because that's the parent, right?
Mhm.
And then if we wanted to see the username on the main.js, we'd have to pass down the username as props to get it there, right? So what he had in his example was basically the username state would have been stored in the sign-in because that's the closest component, or that state affects that component specifically. And then if you wanted to be able to use it in the main.js to display the username, you couldn't do it because those are siblings. They're not like a parent-child, the main and the sign-in. So what he did is he took the state out of the sign-in and put it in the app.js in the closest parent to those two components. So that way, each of them, like one of them, you could send down, you could send it to the sign-in to actually, get the sign-in, and then you'd send it back to the app.js to update the state, and then you could send it down as props to the main.js so you could show it on that page. So the lifting of the state was removing it from the child and putting it in the parent, which we did. We just put it in the parent in the first place. So that way we could just have it anywhere we wanted it.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes more sense.
Okay, cool. And I did kind of write it all out there for you too.
I'll check it out. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, he talked about that it's a practice. I'm not going to say a best practice, but a practice to keep the state like as close to where it's being used, because then like you're only affecting just that whenever the state gets triggered.
Mhm.
And there's, there's several approaches, obviously, programming, right? It depends. You can do it in 1900 different ways. And so a lot of people, myself included, like the way we did it on Saturday because the state's already lifted. So then if you need it, it's there. You can just, pass it down as props to wherever you need it at.
Yeah, it just seemed like he was doing it in a way that was more complicated to me and did
Yeah,
not
I agree.
seem logical.
Yeah, I agree. I understand in the separation of concerns, like it might be better in some instances to do it that way. Like if that state wasn't going anywhere else at all and you knew it wasn't, maybe yeah, keep it over there. But no harm in just keeping it in the parent either.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Cool. All right, everybody got it all copy pasted?
I think I'm good, but the fake data, you said to
Mhm.
keep that, you said put that next, like just in the source folder, not in components.
Correct, yep.
Then I'm good.
Cool. Okay. So now if let me kill my app here. So if you do an LS, are you in, or make sure you're in the app, right? So in mine, I just have the app. I don't have an outside folder like normal. So just do an LS or DIR to make sure you're in the app. And then once you are, you're going to need to install and do an npm install, right? Because we got to get the packages that are included. So just do an npm install. And then once you do that, do an npm start and see if it pops up. It should look something like this.
Can you scroll back up? I missed that.
So yeah, just do just a npm install once you're in your folder, right? Or once you're in your project, and then just npm start. And then once you do that, then it'll do your starting server bit, and then should open your
Yeah,
browser.
I did that wrong.
I
Because
got an
Yeah.
error.
install gives me errors.
What kind of
We
errors you got?
start, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Same error.
What
I
kind of
can
error? Yeah, you can
Module
show it.
knockdown.
Did you let's see, let me get my Slack here. So when you do a DIR or an LS, are you in the app? Does it have your package.json right here?
Oh, no. No, why would that be?
You said that you did create a new React project, right?
Yes. I
Okay.
created React A3. I see the README. I see React A3. I don't see, whenever I do LS though, I don't see any downloaded packages.
Well, you shouldn't see any downloaded packages. You should just see package JSON and
But yeah, that's what I mean. I don't see any of that.
share what your folder structure looks like.
I think you have to stop sharing.
Oh, I'm sorry. Just put it in Slack.
I think you're one folder away from being into the React Day 3. You're just outside one folder.
And that would make sense.
Okay, so Dancy, you've got can't resolve fake data.
I
Revenge
think it
in
wants
JavaScript.
menu items in SRC. Or am I doing that backwards?
Now, menu items should be in your component folder. So you should have your source folder, right? And then inside there, you'll have your fake data and your app.js. And then in your components folder, you'll have your menu items.
Oh,
Menu item.
wrong name. Maybe that's it.
I think I found my issue. I have a capital F in fake data.
Yeah, that was me.
Ah, there you go. Yeah. Get you every time. Okay.
Mine's lowercase on fake data.
Yeah, it should be lowercase. So yours, Michael, we got. Oh, menu item. Is your menu item in your components folder?
Yes.
Uh,
Oh, I
Can you
see
do
why.
you
Spelling
got it? Okay.
of components. There we go. Thank you.
Cool. Okay. Anybody else?
So we're supposed to be in the React Day 3 folder and then do npm start. Is that right?
Did you do npm install?
Oh, no.
Yeah, npm I or npm install. And make sure you're in the one with package.json when you do that. Because remember, when we do npm install, it looks at this package.json to figure out what it's going to install. So it's going to come in here and look at these dependencies and know what to install. So you got to be in the same level as this. Everybody else good? Cool. So when you do your npm start, are you seeing this beautiful coffee shop thing here?
Yes.
All right. So it's pretty ugly, right? Like this is not what you'd want to see, right? So we're gonna do a quick intro to Bootstrap here. So currently, if you look at your dependencies, we don't have Bootstrap installed, right? So we need to install it. So to do that, we are gonna do, so we're in we need to kill our project, right? So if your server is running, go ahead and kill it. Control C. Or yep. And make sure you're still in, you're still in the same folder. And then we're gonna run npm install bootstrap. Okay. Just like this. Hit enter. I'll go back up there so you can see that. So npm install bootstrap. Okay. And so now you can see up here in our dependencies, we now have bootstrap. Okay. So if you just do install and whatever the package is, it's going to give you the latest version. Okay. You can specify versions down the road. You can get really annoying with that, but just do the thing. It'll be good. Anybody trouble with that? Oh, cool. Okay. So if we look at the documentation, so this is getbootstrap.com is Bootstrap documentation. I hope you guys were able to see the video that I made on it. If not, basically Bootstrap is a CSS library that has classes, like built-in classes. And so you can use their classes in your code and do all sorts of really awesome stuff. And if we just look down the left side here and we go to components, like these are all components that like they have that we can use. So an accordion, which I'll click through some of these, just want to let you see the list. Navbar, so you know how difficult it was to make a navbar, right? They have popovers, they have a ton of stuff. To do the functional things like popovers and stuff, you have to install a JavaScript library as well, which tells you to do in the documentation. We're not going to do that today. But just to show you, like accordions are these things right here. So make these things like go up and down. And so if you wanted to use this, you literally can just grab this code, just copy the code, paste it in your code because it's HTML. And then like these classes are Bootstrap classes that make all the magic happen. Now, I think I said this last time, for React, you're gonna have to go through here and change all these classes to class name. Lowercase c, big N, right? For, oh, I lost the word, snake case, yep. So you gotta fix that, but other than that, awesome. So in our app, you will notice, okay, so first off, so we installed it right, but now we need to actually import it so we can use it. So if we go to our index.js, so the only time you're ever going to go in here and mess with anything is when you're importing React. So we're going to paste in this import right here. Right here. Okay. And I'll put this in, oh, okay. If you paste from a Word document to code, it's always going to mess up your quotes. So you gotta fix those. Okay. I'll paste this in Slack so you guys can just grab it. All right, it's in there. It's in that thread that I started for the React Day 3. And make sure that you put it above your index.css. If you remember from CSS, what does CSS stand for? Anybody remember that?
Cascading style
Cascading.
sheet.
Exactly. So it cascades, right? It like goes down. So if you put your index.css above this CSS, then it's going to override all of your styles. Okay. So you want your index.css below the rest of all your other CSSs. Okay. Which typically you won't have a ton of them, maybe one or two. Yeah. And then if, good.
Why wouldn't I have an index.css?
Why wouldn't you?
Huh? I don't. Don't understand why.
Are you in your import? Or I mean your index.js file?
Uh-huh.
That's not there. I don't know.
Mine
mean, I
wasn't
could
at the
easily-
bottom.
Edit.
It was like 3 or 4 down from the top on mine.
Yeah.
Ah.
I don't, do you have,
But
Sana,
there
do
it
you have the file?
Yeah, I've got the file. He's right. It's like 3 down instead of at the very bottom. So I'll just move this up and I'm good.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah. Cool. Okay. So everybody got that import? Easy enough. Cool. So now if we fire off, oh, so first off, let me go back to, let's go to our menu items. So in here you see we got class name and then a bunch of classes, right? Classes we did not write. So now that we have it installed, these should now take effect. So if we run our app again with npm start, then when it refreshes, there we go. Looks a lot better, right?
It's so amazing.
Yeah.
I know, same, mind blown.
I love it.
Yeah. It's like it's tough because like you're thinking it's about CSS and you're like, man, I got to do all this stuff and I got to position something in the center. And then you get to Bootstrap and you're like, oh, yeah, that's awesome. And this is like literally this is the basic thing. Like I didn't do anything here except for make columns. So you can throw it like the nav, like let's throw in a nav bar just for fun, quick. I'm talking more about Bootstrap than I am about React, but we'll get there. Where did I go? Oh, there it is. Okay, so like let's just grab a nav bar. So it's got all sorts of different ones that you can choose from, right? So like ones with images, ones with the drop down links in there, all sorts of stuff. So I'm just gonna grab the top one, because the top's kind of got a little bit of everything. So if I just copy it and I go into my code and let's just go to the app.js. Actually, we'll just go ahead and make a new component real quick. So I'm gonna go new file and we'll call it navbar.js. And then we'll make a functional component. And then instead of navbar, I'm just going to paste in that code I copied. And there's some things that it's not gonna like. For instance, if it's a self-closing element, then you do have to add the slash at the end to make it happy. So like images, you'll see that. HR tags, which that just means horizontal rule, so it's just a line. And then we do need to go through and change all the class to class name. Anybody remember the shortcut on how to select all these?
Wasn't it like
Alt.
option D or something?
Yeah, so control or command D. We'll go through and select them one by one. You could probably do a find all and replace, but it's not as fun. So let's go through, get all those. Okay, so that's all of them. Now you just hit right and NAME, bam, last name. And then this input's gonna want a closing or a line at the end too there. So now, since I added a new component, I've got to restart the server. I think. I wonder if it'll let me do it. Yeah, I got to restart the server. Okay. Oh, cancel. Okay. And then let's hit well. Oh, that probably didn't work because I didn't bring my navbar component into my app. Huh. Gotta import your stuff. All right, so let's import navbar. Then we can put our navbar. Let's put it at the top here. All right, now let's see. There we go. Bam! Look at that. Got a navbar.
Wow.
No, it doesn't like do anything because we haven't hooked any JavaScript up to it to make it search or whatever. But I mean, how long would it take you to make that with CSS?
Took me 2 hours the first week.
Yeah, there you go. Yep. So cool. Okay. Yeah, so play around with Bootstrap. Expect Saturday once we're rebuilding our coffee shop apps. Definitely grab Bootstrap. You know, do all sorts of awesome stuff with it. It's what I use professionally every day. There's other things out there like Tailwind and Material UI. Tailwind, I've looked at it a little bit. I haven't used it, but it says it has a higher learning curve than Bootstrap does. And it allows you to do a lot more fine-grained details. This has been fine for me. And then Material UI is like actual like components, like React components that you can like use, you put state in them and like all sorts of, you can get really deep and in the weeds with that one too. Both are probably really great and definitely I recommend checking them out. But this is really good too. So, okay, I'm gonna kill the navbar for now because we don't need it for what we're doing. All right, let's talk about React. So, the two big reasons to use React, one is single page application, right? So it's a SPA. Two is reusable components. And then three is like state management, right? Yeah. So each one of these menu items is the same component. They're all reusable components, okay? And I'll show you that in a second. But so if imagine here, like this whole thing is app.js, right? Whole big thing. And then we have our menu item component right here, right? And this is only being called one time, 2 times for menu and for merchant. But this is just this one component. So we're looping through our menu items, which we'll get into more detail in this in a second. But we're looping through that, and for each one, we're creating a component, well, an instance of this component. Okay, so it's reusable in that we can just pass props to it to make it different each time, with the different name, the different price, the different image. But the component itself, these are all the exact same component. Make sense? Okay. So We'll look at it by itself real quick here. So y'all have this on your screens too. So all it is just our function, right? Our functional component. And we're passing in our props, which this is destructuring, which we'll talk about in a second. And then we just have just a really simple just component here. So this is just a div with a card, which card came from Bootstrap. It's a Bootstrap card. And then we have our image right here, which it's getting its source from the image that we're passing in. So that's the URL. And then our alt text, we're passing that in for that image right there. And then down here is our card body, where we have our header with our item, which is getting passed in from up here. And then our price, which is getting passed in from right here. Okay. So so every one of those cards has that, right? It's got the picture, it's got the title, it's got the price, and it's got the alt text. If you can see that by hovering over there, maybe. Well, I guess if it didn't show up, it would show that. Yeah. So where does that info come from? That data, it comes from our fake data. So if you look at our fake data here, for our fake menu items, we've got item, we've got price, we've got image, each one, right? And this is just an array of objects, right? So black coffee, right there, black coffee. There's the price of it. There's the picture of it. So how does it get there? All right, so if we take it from the top, right, app.js, we need some data. Professionally or in production, you're going to have a database or something that you're reaching for, or an API like we do with Pokemon to bring some stuff in. In this case, we just made some arrays of objects so we could have some data. So we have our state, right, where we want to keep it because it's not going to change for our instance. But if we were like add a menu item, or maybe if somebody was buying something and we wanted to put it in our cart, we'd have a cart state that we could update. But in this case, we're just setting our data to our data that we're getting from our fake data guy there. So our menu items are set to fake menu items, our merchant items set to fake merchant items. So then our menu items is an array, right? So this is an array. It's an array of objects. So we're doing some checking here to make sure that there actually is menu items exists and that the length of the array is greater than 0. So it's not an empty array. And then once we know it's there, then we're going to map through it. Okay. So map is a higher order function. It's just like a for loop. It just goes through and then does whatever you tell it to do at each iteration. Okay. And then we're passing, oh, this is like I, right? Menu item is, each iteration is whatever that thing is. So this could be X, this could be whatever you want it to be. Since we're going through a menu items array of objects, it makes sense to call it menu item, right? So for each menu item, we're going to create a component, and we're going to pass that component. Let me do this here. We're going to pass the component the values it needs for each one, okay? So for the first menu item, so for the black coffee, that's the first one that's going to be passed. It's going to create that component and pass it the item, which is menu item.item, the price, menu item.price, and then the image, menu item.image, and the alt text. So again, that's menu item.item, menu item.price, menu item.image. And, oh, I guess I didn't pass an alt text. Oops. All right. Accessibility wise, I should have passed an alt text, but I didn't. So don't get mad. All right. Oh, no, I did. I'm sorry. I just passed the item again because that's what it is. See? I knew I did it right. Okay. So yeah, so by doing that, then in our menu item, we're getting all that data that we just passed in, and we're putting it where it belongs, and then it throws it on the screen. It's beautiful. Like that. and then it just goes on to the next one. So now we're on menu item, the next one in the list, right? Which is our espresso. And so it just passes all that in there and then makes our component, the second component, and then puts it right there. And just on and on until there's no more left. Make sense?
For the
Anybody's
most,
mo-
understand it when you explain it. I don't know that I'd be comfortable writing it just yet, but yes, thank you.
Yep. So Saturday, I mean, you'll be making your menus and your lists and everything, so you'll get hands-on and yeah, once you start doing it, it'll make a lot more sense. But this is very common, like to map through data and put it on a page in a reusable component. Very, very common. It's one of the biggest use cases because you know the DRY principle, right? Do not repeat yourself. So this, like because you could go through and you could make another menu item below this one, you know, and like not have the loop and you know, put in the data one by one, but that kind of ruins the whole point. Oh, so something, a hint or a gotcha that you'll probably run into. You see this is mad, right? And it says it's mad because JSX expressions must have one parent element. So anytime you have JSX, you have to have like a parent of everything inside it. So for example, if I were to delete all of this, I'll put it back, don't worry. If I had a div, that's not a div. I'll change my JavaScript thing down here. All right, if I had a div, hello, and another div, it's going to have the same issue, right? Because they don't have a parent element; they're just siblings. So a very common way to get around this, you could just do two divs or an opening and a closing div, but there's a thing called a React fragment, which looks like this. And so literally it's React's way of getting around that problem. It doesn't show up on your page. It doesn't add any space like a div would or anything like that. It just gives it a parent, so then it's not mad anymore. So just if you ever see that and you're like, oh, what is that about? Literally just got to add a React fragment around the whole thing. Okay. I'm gonna undo all that. Send my stuff back. Okay. So for mine, I actually wanted a container, which container is a Bootstrap class as well that gives you space around everything. So since I have that around, like this is the parent of everything, so that's why it's not complaining at me for that. All right, cool. So destructuring. Okay, so we learned before that instead of doing, so we're in menu items again, instead of doing it like this, you can just do props, right? And then you would just do like props.image and then props.alt text and props.item, props. Okay. And you might have noticed, I kind of added my terminal up, but if I, oops, what is that? Something crazy. Okay. Yeah, so if I have props up here and then I try to do like item or whatever down here, it's mad because it doesn't know what item is, it doesn't know what price is, right? Because you got to add props dot whatever, because that's what's coming in from the props. Okay, so now it's happy except for that those warnings, but that's fine. So this is the one way to do it, which we looked at before. The other way to do it is again is by destructuring. So destructuring just means to Oh, actually, I have a good definition of it. Let's see. Okay, it allows you to extract multiple properties from an object or element from an array or from an array and assign them to variables easily. Okay. So because we know the props that are coming in, because we've defined them here, we know we're gonna have a props.item, we know we're gonna have a props.price, and so on and so on. Then we can just destructure them here by doing the curly brackets and then the props that are passed in. And then we can just use these names wherever we need to. Another place you'll see that is like we were talking about earlier with the imports. Like this is a sort of destructuring because we know the name of these functions or of these arrays here, so we can just use them here. I think another way of doing this, and I'm just guessing here, this might be wrong. Let me see if I do fake data. I think if I do that, and then I can do fake data dot fake menu items, yeah. Okay, so this would be not destructuring. Basically here we're giving it a name, and this could be whatever. And then we're having to use that name dot whatever. So it's like props, right? Like this is kind of taking, and this is not props, don't get confused. This has nothing to do with React. But as far as destructuring goes, like this is not destructuring, and what we had before would be, where you could just use the straight up name that you got instead of doing the object, which is what this is kind of, and then dot whatever. Okay, hope that didn't make that too confusing. Cool, okay, I'm gonna put it back the other way.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
So when you're destructuring, like the way, like right now you have fake menu items, fake match items. So does it like allow you to choose what you want from the different, instead like you can pick and choose rather than putting it all in, importing it all in at once?
Yep, yeah, if you just wanted menu items, you could just get menu items. And so like at work, we have a utilities folder or a utilities file, and it has, 100 functions in it or whatever. And so whatever component I'm in, if I only need like 3 of them, then I only bring in like the 3 I need. I don't bring in all of them.
Thanks.
Which is it's a really good point. So the other way we were just doing that, yeah, if we did it this way instead, then yeah, you're bringing in everything and then you're just using what you need down here. Right? So destructuring, you can just bring in what you need as opposed to bringing in the whole thing and then using it as you go.
Is there a performance cost for doing it either way?
I think there could be. I don't know for a fact, but I would definitely, if you bring in 100 functions that you're not needing, I would think it would slow it down. And I think just for readability purposes, it just makes a lot more sense to just, bring in what you need. So you're not trying to like search through to figure out the one you needed in the whole thing. Now, if you needed like 99 out of the 100 functions, you could do it the other way and just save yourself from writing them all out. And then if you're using VS Code, then most of the time, like it's going to help you out. So if I were to bring in fake menu items like this, then it's going to pop that up there for me. So pretty helpful. Cool. So yeah, I think that's it on the structuring. Is that pretty clear? Not too bad. Cool. Okay. We talked about Bootstrap, talked about structuring, we talked about reusable components. You can get very specific on your reusable components. So you might have like, I don't have a good example, but let's say that, you had two that were similar, but there were big enough differences that it would be kind of like you'd have to add a lot of conditionals to make it work for everything you wanted it to. Just make two components. Like it's not that big of a deal. If it's something like this where it's obviously the exact same structure each time, same data, then make it reusable. But don't think that like every single thing has to be reusable. You know, you still want it to be readable, and easy to understand, you know. Okay, let's see. I think those are the big things I wanted to talk about today. Anybody got any questions about anything?
We actually have time for questions.
Yeah. Nothing? You're all experts, good to go?
No, my brain is just really dead, so I don't have
Yeah.
I can't think of any questions today. I'm sorry.
I
We
hear.
need to
Hey, no
actually
worries.
do it. I will
Yeah.
have 100 questions on Saturday.
Yeah, for
Perfect.
sure.
Exactly
Love
it.
it. Cool.
So on Saturday, are we going to be adding a shopping cart element to the coffee shop, or just making just a plain coffee shop menu?
We're gonna be killing the JavaScript coffee shop and making a React one.
Without a
So
shopping
I mean, you can make a shopping cart for sure. But basically taking, and even if like, if you just want to scrap the other one and start from scratch, that's fine too. But we'll be, start building the React shopping cart, or I'm sorry, the React coffee shop app, which eventually, we'll definitely have a shopping cart. You should definitely have menu. We're gonna, probably not Saturday, but next week, we're gonna do a weather API, so we can like add some weather stuff to your coffee shop and then like suggest coffees based on the weather, like iced coffee or warm coffee. It's gonna get cool. So yeah, Saturday will be just you're gonna make a new project, obviously, and then start to build the coffee shop and use Bootstrap to, make your nav and other really cool things. Yeah, it's gonna be exciting. Super cool. This fake data thing, you can make this larger and use it in your coffee shop app as well. So that way you actually have some data. And then a cool kind of aside, these images, so used to be that like you'd have to put your images in a CDN somewhere, right? A content delivery network. And then, or you could like try to use like an image you found on Google and like reference to it. You never know if it's there, if it's good or not. I figured out, and I feel I saw it like a month ago. You can make a repository for your images on GitHub. And so literally I just made an images for shop repository, and it's just a bunch of images I uploaded. And you can go like here to add file and just upload files. And then once you do, in your image, you can just right click on it and copy image address and then throw that in your code. And the images are here because it's your repository, right? And of course I stole all these from Google, didn't make them. But I was like, oh, that's super cool.
Does GitHub have like a repository limit for individuals?
If it does, I haven't found it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I know it's kind of a free thing, but it
Mm.
seems like a lot of data to be housing for so many people.
Yeah, I think, I mean, they do have a paid plan, which I don't have. And I think it's mainly for businesses. Like I have 43 repositories, which is not a whole lot. But yeah, if there is, I don't think we're gonna hit it.
I think Bobby has like 140 so far.
There you go. Yeah. So, I mean, if they'll let you know, definitely if they do. Cool. What else? Any questions in general as far as just coding or being a developer, or I don't know how much money you can make? Anything?
How do you know like what section you want to, like, if you want to do front end, back end, full stack? Like-
Once you start doing it, you'll figure it out. Like when I first started, and I think most people when you first start, you're like looking at the front end, right? You think, oh man, I want to be front end developer because I can make things pretty and do cool stuff with JavaScript. And then you can stop there, like you can just be front end. There's nothing wrong with that. And then you could just be back end, like you could start doing back end stuff and be like, oh man, this is so cool. I'm manipulating this data and I'm, doing all this cool stuff. And then you can be full stack, which is what I am, mainly because there's only like 3 of us at work, 2.5 really. So kind of have to be, but I like it because you can so at work right now, I'm working on a PDF generator for these reports that we got to do, which sounds super boring, but it's on the back end code. Like you do all this stuff to make this PDF appear, and then it does, and you're like, whoa, that's cool. And it's all back end, like none of it's front end. But then on the front end, we have all sorts of other cool stuff, like we can make things pop and move. And so yeah, just getting into it, you'll kind of figure out what you like better, or you might be like, I like it all. You might love databases for some reason, so you want to, just get in the data. But yeah, getting into it and actually coding it and getting comfortable with it, then you'll find your niche.
Thank you.
I think that, yeah, let's see. I don't think there's I'll explain Bootstrap again real quick since we got a couple minutes left. So let's not look at the navbar, let's look at the menu. Nope, let's look at the app. So actually, let's do this. Okay. So in our root here, like this is our container, right? So here's that class container. So you can see it just added some margin and padding to the sides there. And then so if we like kill this, you can see it pop back out, right? So that's what that did. You can see that. And if you're not messing around in the element inspector here, you totally should, because you can change anything in here and kind of see like what things do and what they don't. And once you refresh, it all goes away. So if you like the change, make sure you actually did it in your code. But then so you can see we have rows here, like this is a row, this is a row. So Bootstrap is rows and columns as far as the layout goes. So rows are going to be your horizontal, and then columns within your rows, it's 12 columns wide. Okay. So you tell it here with call dash whatever the number is, how many columns you want for that thing. So for our images, we just made it column 4. So that way they would be, there'd be 3 of them, right? So 4 plus 4 plus 4 is 12, right? So that spaced them out that way. And then if you get into it, you can see this is where the actual card is that's being made. And then MB is margin bottom. So margin bottom of 3. They have, if you look at getbootstrap.com, they have, it's 1 through 5 for the margin and the padding. And they're different like pixels. I don't remember how much they are each, but this does not mean 3 pixels. It means 3 on their scale. So for example, I can change it to 1 and you can see did nothing. Okay, well, that was fun. Okay, yeah, so you see the margin, the little orange went away. The card at the bottom just didn't move up. Now you can see there's more orange there. But yeah, so the big thing though that I wanted to point out is rows. So every time you need a new row, you just do a class row, and then columns. There's 12 across. So you can do 1, you can do 7, you can do 12, however much you want to do. And then you'll do a new row below it. So it's just if you just think about a grid, that's the way it works. Questions on that? Cool. Yeah, that's all I got today. Wasn't too terrible. So Saturday will be super fun. Do a lot of cool stuff. Yeah, I'm good. I'll hang out here about 5 minutes or so if anybody has anything. If not, see y'all Saturday.
Looking forward to applying it all Saturday. Thank you.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Brian.
Thanks,
Yeah, no
Brian.
worries.
Thank you so much for a fun class.
Yes.
Oh, and Brian, since I have you here, like, we can go over like a question I had for you before.
Yeah.
About it looking like it cached the so for example, like if you go to menu item, if you misspell it and let's say put a small lowercase I in like your components, in the area of your components.
Do
On
you
the left,
misspell it here or misspell it in like over here in the import?
no, like way on the Explorer, like under components.
Oh, over here. Okay.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, if
So
you put it here.
yeah, I misspelled it like right over there. And
Mhm.
then I put like a small I and then I changed it to a big I. Then when I went to upload it, when I went to import it in my app.js, it kept telling me that it can still see the one with the small I.
Okay. Let's see. So let me rename this to that. Let's see if that's. Oh, well, that automatically fixed it for me. Okay, so you had this cannot find menu item.
So mine was telling me like, because I deleted the whole component and made a new one with a new name, it told me that can finding similar names.
Okay. So if I delete that guy, then make a new one. And the new one was spelled correctly?
Yes, the new one was spelled correctly, so probably like yours will put it in small I.
Yes, not mad at me. So to fix it, you made a whole new project?
Yes, I had to make a whole new project.
That happened to me, but mine got fixed somehow. I think as I kept working on it, it just fixed itself. But I know what Philip is talking about. I had the exact same thing happen.
Same. That
And I
happens
didn't
to
have
me
Yeah, because I
Saturday
think I
as well.
misspelled it in the beginning, and then I corrected it, and it kept saying that I couldn't find it, but I can't remember what happened, but I know I didn't have to redo it, and it just corrected itself.
Yeah, I tried changing mine so many times. I even looked up like, because I even asked ChatGPT was telling me I have something cached to delete it, and I couldn't find how to do anything. But I'll try and mess it up again, and I'll send you like a screenshot to see.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah. Yeah, likely they're just one of those was just not matching up for some
Okay.
reason. Because yeah, if you rename or if you put a new or created a new one, and then you had the right name in the function and the right name in the import, where it's at, it should have worked. Like you shouldn't have had to redo the whole thing.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
yeah. But I mean, good practice, right?
That's right. That's right. Thank you so much again for a good class.
No worries. Thanks.
Yeah.
Hey Brian, I have a question.
Mm.
When you just created the new JS file, you used R something to import everything. What was that again?
So it's, let me delete it. So, if you do R, oh, do you have the package or the extension?
Oh,
This one?
okay. No, I can add it. I didn't know. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, get this extension, and then when you do,
Uh-huh.
I think it has documentation, but I don't ever read it. Maybe snippets. Let's see. Oh yeah, here we go. Let's see.
Oh.
I have the one that I use. Yeah, it's got a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one that I use is RFC. So right here, nope, right here, RFC,
Okay.
and this just makes a basic functional component.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot more you can do. You can use it for React Native too. People. Yeah, once you get that installed, then what we'll
Okay.
do is find my component. Yeah, just RFC, and it'll pop it up right here. Say React functional component.
Okay.
You can hit enter or click on it. Like that.
Okay. Thank you.
Cool. I broke my app. Cool. Anybody else? Good to go.
Okay. Well, thank you. See you Saturday.
Alrighty, later. All right. I'm gonna go eat some dinner. Cool. All right, see you later.